Ladies and gentlemen, this screen looks a little different, and there is a reason for that. I actually recorded about an hour's worth of footage of the off season, but to be honest, it was a complete and utter disaster. I had no idea what I was doing, and PlayStation won't let me upload anything longer than 60 minutes, and so it would have to be in two parts. Those two parts are not cohesive. So for now, I'm going to go through the team and introduce you to some new faces and show you what has remained from Season 1. If you are interested in seeing two parts of an absolute rambly mess, let me know in the comments, and we can look at uploading those pieces anyway. For now, this is kind of going to be the TLDR of the off-season for Season 1, and we are kind of in between everything. So I'm going to pull up the My Team screen right here. And we got some things to look at, to be sure. So Molly is sticking around. She wanted to sign with us, and so she did. Our first new player is Jason Kippenstein. He is going to replace Gary Towers as our backup catcher. And if we take a look at some of Jason's statistics here, he is 22 years old, so plenty of times to work on things, you know, age-wise for him. And not going to knock your socks off. If you look at overall, he is a C. He's got 58 power, 40 contact, 49 speed. His fielding is not great, neither is his arm. So no stats that are really going to knock your socks off for Jason. The thing is, at least to me, was, whoa, that I just wanted a player who could serve as a good backup catcher. So he will be receiving some development this year. Victoria Daniels at first base also stuck around. And this is a position we're going to have some struggles with. We have a C+ for Victoria and a new face in the form of Nick Jackman, who is going to be joining us this year. And Nick, 33 years old, so definitely not someone that we're looking to spend as much time. Victoria's got a little bit of time left, not a whole lot. No jumping off the paper stats for Nick Jackman, but that's alright. Melody Ferguson stuck around for us. She will be our starting second baseman. At 24, plenty of time to work with her as well. Get you a look at the stats for her. 90 in terms of her speed, which we have really underutilized, if I'm being honest. The contact is a good one for Melody, so we're going to keep her as our primary. Backing her up at second base is Layla Uptown, and she's got a secondary of shortstop, so she may spend some time there as well. Layla is 29 years of old. Yes. She bats left, and what is that? Left, right? Is that bats and throws, maybe? And so there's Layla. Some stats. The kind of one that jumps off the page, at least to me, we got 80 for a couple of different stats, those being the fielding and the arm. So Layla definitely going to be spending some time at second, if not at short. We only have one third baseman this year, and it's a new face, Caesar Jax. And infield outfield position, he's 24 years old. And not a lot of really crazy stats. Got decent power for batting, so that's nice. But definitely needs some work, to be sure. Now we look at our shortstop position, and so again, we have Layla, who can jump in if the need arises. Not a lot of great secondary positions thus far, but we have an infield utility in the form of Reed Salmon, I believe, or Solomon, or Salomon, we'll find out, is going to be our starting shortstop, and an infield secondary. 35 years old, so kind of a pickup for this year, until or unless we can find a younger shortstop maybe later in the season. So Reed will fill that role for the moment. You know, Blymo Battery, left field. Infield, outfields are definitely utility. 24 years old, so plenty of time to Work with Blammo. There's the stats there. 73 is probably your headliner, and that's for contact. So good stuff there, not great stuff. And then we get to Canopy Cannon. Might be living out his primary years. Center field, infield, outfield, 40 years old. Got some good stats in just about everything. Superstar power, you know Canopy. Now a new face. Out in center field, at least as our primary starter, is going to be Agro Peppers. Agro Peppers is a youngin', 19 years old. Outfield secondary position, and it's got decent speed, which is something you like to see. The fielding could use some work, but that will come with time. And another player here, Kaylee Stewart, a new face, B- out in center, infield, first base or outfield, excuse me, for a secondary position. She is a little older, 36 years old, and definitely kind of makes up. She's got also really solid speed, and that's about the best stat for Kaylee as well. So we're prioritizing speed in terms of center field. As we move on, down here we have Royal Thunderer. Say that 10 times fast. Going to be doing the duties out in right field and outfield secondary. So we have a lot of utility in terms of outfield presence for this team this year, which I like to see. 26 years old, and really decent stats for fielding and arm, which is important. Pretty terrible power, and not much better on the contact. So some struggles for Royal Thunderer there, but that's all right. The new ace of your Boardwalk Bullets pitching staff, moving up from a solid position last year, Lily Rocket. She's a B+ overall, and she's only 22 years old. So I'm thinking Lily is someone we want to continue to develop. You know, for pitching, she is not too bad in any one stat. In the 70s, so she's working her way to becoming a really solid ace for this staff, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Miss Rocket this season. So there she is. Up next, we have one of our first new faces. This is Kai. I'm gonna mess this up again. Kai Barnswabble is going to be our second starter. Also a youngin', 19 years of old. And, you know, again, not a lot jumping off the page, but when you move to the pitching stats, you've got pretty good accuracy, which is something you want to see out of a starter. So good news there for Kai. I think it's Kai. It's either Kai or Cal. I can't tell if that's an A or an L or an I. So you've got Lily, you've got Kai. Then we have another new face in the form of Marcel Doctor. And going young for the pitching, also 19 years old. And if we look at the stats, again, nothing going to knock your socks off, but decent in terms of the velo department for Marcel. So good to see there in terms of pitching depth and starters, things like that. And more new faces, lots of new faces. This is Ruby Farrell, and another young pitcher at 19. So we went young with this pitching staff in the hopes of developing them into a strong team. And the place where Ruby takes the cake is also in velo. Next, probably control. So nothing crazy there for Ruby, but a good, solid starting spot. We don't have amazing pitchers, but it's not terrible either. And your fourth man in the rotation, you probably remember from last year, Wedge Valagas, 21 years of old. And nothing going to jump off the page there in terms of your More regular statistics, of course, but Wedge does well in the junk department. Good movement. So we'll hope to continue to develop Wedge. And then we move into our last starter, who is actually labeled as a starter reliever, which I did not realize, and that being Nicole Frazier is going to start some games for us this year. And we'll look at her pitching stats, of course. And she's got decent velo, and you know that forkball for her. When it's on, it's on. That's a heck of a pitch for Nicole. And she's 28, so maybe a little bit of time with her yet. So now we get into our more solid relievers. So Nicole could come out of the pen. And as well for the relief pitcher side of things, we have Lorenzo Clark. And Lorenzo is 21 years old. Looking to get some development out of Lorenzo, as the only stat that even kind of jumps off the page is the velo, but nothing spectacular. So the bullpen is certainly going to be a point of contention, as we really only have 2, maybe 3 regular relievers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, we have a 5.5-man rotation. Nicole will probably be used as a reliever more than anything else. Steve Woodard is sticking around for us at 31 years old. Definitely the oldest, I believe, for our pitching. At 26, Alvin is with us again. So that's a look at your ball club. Get you a look at the team photo here in full screen. Things are going to change a little bit, possibly, with the team photo. I am, you know, you're watching this far. If you stuck around, I will tell you I am going to do a slight rebrand on the uniforms for your Boardwalk Bullets, and that will be something that happens between now and the official start of Season 2, which is going to be in a little while. I think I'm going to take a little bit of time and step away, come back in probably August or so. This series has been fantastic, and if you have any ideas for players, anything like that, if you would like to be a player on the team, I'm willing to redo some of those new faces to emulate you guys, if that's something that you would be interested in. If not, don't worry about it. We will keep rolling just as we have been. But there it is. There's a look at your Season 2 Boardwalk Bullets starting franchise, and I'm very excited. This is a good team, not a great team. We might take a different approach to certain aspects of managing the team, but really liking where we're at. Here's some cards for our crew, and some of those things, like I said, may be changing, but very excited about this. We're going to head right back to this team photo, leave it here, and just tell you that I really appreciate the support on this series thus far. I'm enjoying this game so much. It feels like baseball, and it feels good to play. And I appreciate those of you who have stuck around for a good Season 1. We almost made it all the way, but I think it's going to be a rebuild kind of year, and we're going to see how we do. So thanks for checking this one out. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas, queries, or anything of the sort, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comments section down below. And again, there is going to be a bit of a lull in regularly scheduled programming here, but we will see you for Season 2 very soon. Thank you again, and play ball, kids. Peace.